I watched the Woodstock documentary the other day, yesterday, and I called Danny last night to talk about it, and she was in the middle of cooking dinner, so she couldn't talk. And what did you make for dinner, Danny?
Steaks, potatoes, French fries, green beans, broccoli, carrots, corn on the cob.
Wow,
everybody's covered.
What was it? Thanksgiving?
No, it was.
Wait, one more time. What did you cook? Steaks.
Potatoes. French fries.
Aren't they the same thing?
Yes, but one eats potatoes and the other one eats fries. So we have to make sure that they get their.
So what? I mean, like a baked potato.
Oh, it was mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. So you had steak, mashed potatoes, French fries,
green beans, broccoli, carrots, corn on the cob,
and corn on the cob. No mac and cheese.
No, but
Okay.
I mean, it was French fries instead of the mac and cheese because they need a starch.
Right. A good balanced meal. That's 7 dishes for 4 people. You, the carpenter, and the things.
More me and the things.
Okay, so wait a minute. That much for you and 2 little kids. Wow, you're going all out there. Do you do that every day?
And when I cook dinner, it's not hard. You throw the steaks on the grill, and everything else is pretty much microwave. French fries in the oven.
Well, it just seems like a lot of food. Not that it's a hard thing to do. I mean, no, it's not hard. I mean, you might use frozen carrots or canned carrots or fresh carrots. It ain't hard, but it seems like a lot of food.
No, now that they got all the green beans come in a small can, it's perfect.
So it's easy. So, I mean, it's easy, right?
It's easy.
Still, it seems like a lot. Seems like you're making everybody their own meal.
No, okay, so I eat all of that.
I bet your plate was jammed.
It is jammed.
It was bussin'.
And then one kid eats potatoes, one eats French fries, one eats green beans, one eats carrots. We all eat broccoli, and we all eat corn on the cob. The only difference is the green beans, broccoli, and I guess the potatoes and fries.
Which is 2/3 of the meal.
But I mean, okay, so one kid will eat we'll have steak, potatoes, green beans, and broccoli, and corn on the cob. The other kid will have steak, French fries, carrots, and corn on the cob, and broccoli.
And y'all eating good over there, though.
Well, they have to have at least one green is the deal.
Right, one green.
They love corn on the cob, so I make that just because they love it. So one green, one starch, one meat.
And a protein, or the meats.
Protein.
Huh.
And one other vegetable.
It's because when you first say it, it seems excessive. When you explain it, it really doesn't. But Margot used to do that with Aaron too. When he was little, I mean, she would make him a completely different meal than the rest of us were eating. And I used to be like, "Why are you doing that? Like, if you're going to make a completely different meal, I don't care what's for dinner. I'll eat whatever you cook. Why don't you just make that?"
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that the pediatrician told us as parents: do not be a short. What do you call it? Short order cook.
Right. Margot was for a long time.
And I agree with that 100%. You eat what's on your plate. At the same time, when I watch what my kids actually eat, if my kid likes broccoli, you're going to bet your ass she's going to broccoli every time we have dinner like that.
I agree. I mean, but see, you're making something different for everybody. Is that a common thing?
Probably not. But see, I like fries and I like potatoes. So I get best of both worlds.
You're making what you like too.
Right.
Piling it up.
I don't know. I remember as a kid, you sat there at the dinner table and you didn't get up till your plate was clean.
I know. And it didn't matter if it was cold liver and onions. That's what you had to eat.
That's what you had to eat.
God, my mom would stand over me with a ruler and be like, "You're going to eat that?" But Mom, these minute steaks are terrible. They're tough. I can't eat them. They're gross. Your gravy's greasy. What are we doing? My dad is nom.
Right.
And I'm like, ugh. And I'd sit there. And finally I'd choke it down.
I don't know.
Just to keep from getting in trouble.
I'd just rather have a pleasant time at the dinner table. You know, I'm not saying I'm doing it right. I'm not. But
you're not doing it wrong. You're doing it your way. And that's fine. I'm just seemed like a lot of food.
If we sat down at dinner every night like families used to, right, I think it may be a different story. Right. I try to have dinner on the table 3 nights a week. And I'm going to make sure that they're eating what they need to be eating to grow those 3 nights. So if I have to make an extra little thing,
you're okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
901.
As long as I eat it too.
Right. I'm not going to make something I don't like.
No.
901-535-9898. I'm very curious about the patterns and how people are cooking for their kids, or how often they're eating out, or what they're cooking.
Oh yeah. Do you do takeout?
Sometimes not. I mean, Margot cooks most days. I mean, I'll grill a lot. Like last week, I think I grilled 4 nights. and then we had meatloaf one night and tacos another night. And then we have what we call a free for all, which is let's clean the fridge out and eat the leftovers.
We have a free for all. And then usually my kids are at their grandparents. So I've got one grandparent cooking one night and one grandparent feeding them another night.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Oh, yeah. So I totally luck out. Now, when school starts, that's all over.
Yeah.
But for summer, yeah.
901-535-9898. I'd love to know your dinner routines. Well, I asked Danny about her dinner time routine earlier. She apparently makes a lot of food, enough to cover everybody's bases, but stops short of being a short order cook.
I'd say I'm right on the edge.
901-535-9898. Good morning.
Everything y'all are talking about is how I was raised also, man. Old school. Don't get up till it's all gone. You better eat your vegetables. Don't feed the dog.
Right.
Old school mentality, man. Everybody nowadays, like you were saying, it's people order individual meals for individual kids, I feel like. This kid gets Domino's. This kid gets Taco Bell. This kid gets Pizza Hut. It's crazy.
Now, how do you do it in your house?
Man, I mean, we have one big meal for everybody, and, the kids pick through what they want. They pick through what they don't want, but at the end of the day, there's at least a certain percentage of your plate you're going to eat before you get up. I mean, So we still instill the old school mentality, but it's if you don't like squash, if you don't like zucchini, that's okay. Eat majority of this or eat majority of that. So you're still going to eat.
So you're just not as rigid about it as the old folks were.
No, I've never had to sit there for hours. So I'm not as adamant about it as people used to be.
My brother is so adamant about it with his kids, and we were on vacation, and I was tired of them sitting there. And I looked, and one niece on my left had all of her meat sitting on her plate, and the niece to my right had all her vegetables sitting on her plate. And my brother's like, "You're not getting up till you're done." And he turned around, and I said, "Don't tell." And I took their plates and swapped them, and they finished them.
That's great.
Those switcheroos.
Hey, thank you, brother. We appreciate the call.
On our Rick's Powder Coating text line, we've got, hey, it's Zach. My wife and I do DoorDash on Fridays, but every other day of the week we cook. You do DoorDash?
Not usually. I find it to be overpriced. If we're going to go out to eat or go get takeout, I'm just going to go get it. I'm going to save the delivery fee. They jack the menu prices up.
I just look and see if the restaurant delivers and I get it for delivery. If it doesn't, then I go get it.
Right. In my house, we plan meals every day, buy groceries for each meal, and end up getting Mexican 3 nights a week.
Fantastic. Fantastic. We, on our Rick's Powder Coating text line about short order cooking, we have been short order cooks for our 3 kids for years, and I hate it. We don't want to do it anymore, but we don't know how to reverse it. Any help? The kids are 6 years old, and then 2 or 5-year-old twins.
Well, they're young enough. You ought to be able to just stop.
Absolutely not. Short order cooking. If you do it between the ages of 1 and 4, you are doomed.
Is that true?
This is the research I have found on how to stop being a short order cook.
So how do you stop then once you get started?
You got to take these little baby steps. So if you have done it between ages 1 and 4, you need to put your patience cap on.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to break, though.
But you can with 5 quick, easy steps. Number 1, make a list of all the foods your child eats at least half of the time. Because you're going to get overwhelmed thinking of something that everyone could eat. So just make a list of all the foods your children eat, one by one. Number 2, plan your meal to include at least one of these foods.
That's a good idea.
You're going to use that list and include 1 to 3 of those foods in your next family style meal. That's the key here, is family style is what's going to break this. Number 3, tell your child about the change in advance. Don't just spring it on them.
Good idea. Good idea.
Number 4, don't pressure them to eat the other foods. Not yet. Part of the reason the kids get upset that you're not short order cooking is because they don't want to eat the other foods at the table. Picky eaters they can actually have major anxiety about it if they know what types of food that you usually eat.
Right. Okay.
And finally, be consistent even if they flip out. It does not have to happen overnight. If any of this seems overwhelming, you could start with Sunday night family dinner. Few weeks, then move on to family dinner weekend, and so on. Choose how often you're comfortable with the steadily work toward it, and all most of the meals being one set of foods for all.
And that's kind of what you're doing when you make that variety of food. You're making a little bit of what this one eats, a little bit of what that one eats, and putting them together.
Right. But now I gotta go. All right, you're having lasagna.
Oh, I love lasagna.
Oh, it's my favorite, and they're like, they'll eat spaghetti
and pizza.
Oh yeah, but they look at lasagna. Well, no. We were at the we were at the lake, and that's what we made one night. And I don't know why, but we said that's what's for dinner, and both of them actually ate it.
They choked it down. I can choke down some lasagna. I'm like Garfield. I'll eat a whole damn pan.
And I'm sorry, but the Stouffer's is the best. Don't even try and make it because you cannot top the Stouffer's. It is the best lasagna ever made.
Wow, I'm about to turn your microphone off.
Were you Italian? Are you Italian now? All of a sudden, you're Italian?
Margo makes a badass lasagna.
Okay, well, have Stouffer's and you tell me the difference.
I ate Stouffer's for years with my first wife, and then I married Margo, and I know what lasagna tastes like now.
Oh, yeah. And how often do you have it?
Not a lot in the summertime.
No, it is not very good for summer, but I just bought the Stouffer's one and I laugh because the carpenter's like, why do you buy this huge pan? I go, because I'll eat the small one by myself.
Ain't that the truth? 98.1 The Max and Danny and Country Corey. Good morning. We have got a great news story for you right here. You're going to love this.
South Dakota woman is keeping her promise to her deceased husband and drinking a 50-year-old Coors Banquet beer. They said they would drink it on their 50th anniversary. Here she is talking about the plans she made with her husband.
You couldn't buy Coors anyplace but Colorado. He pulled out this little can and said, we'll have this on our 50th anniversary. It always just got packed up and went along, and we just never really thought about it. We sat down, we talked a while about Dad and about our marriage, and then we got out the Coors. I was very surprised. I thought it would be full of crap, and it wasn't.
We've been talking about kids and dinner, and Danny cooks an exorbitant amount of food. Seemed that way at first, but then you realize it's kind of a mix and match situation.
Right. One vegetable for one kid and a different starch for the other kid.
And she stops just shy of being a short order cook, which I think is fantastic. One lady texted in asking for advice. Danny had it for her. Now this text, dinner. If my kids didn't like a side dish or even a main dish, as long as they ate the rest of their plate, I was happy. From the snarky preteen years, if they refused what was served, they still had to sit at the table and engage in dinner table conversation. When dinner was over and cleaned up, they could make themselves a sandwich, soup, whatever, as long as they cleaned up after themselves.
I think it's fair enough.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, because she's not doing the short order cooking.
Right. Regina's the greatest parent ever. You should give lessons, girl. But you're going to miss cooking like that when they get older and they're going out and they don't need you to make dinner every night. You're gonna kind of miss it. You know what I mean?
People say that kind of stuff all the time. Like, hold on to it. It goes fast. My brother actually called me over the weekend and was like, man, my boy's getting old. He's got two older girls and they're both going off to college this year. And now the youngest son's going into high school, and he's all football, baseball, girlfriend.
Wow, got a whole little life, don't he?
My brother's like, man, I'm losing my little buddy. So it happens. Yeah, I mean, and I was telling,
I feel that too.
I was telling the carpenter about that, and he said, I get teared up. I was telling Thing One that she's about to turn 9. She's halfway through her life of living at home.
Yep.
And he's like, I can't get through that without crying. I'm like,
oh, poor fella. Just feel bad for him. I got news for you. They don't leave at 18.
Yeah. Josie starts crying too. The Thing One starts crying. She's like, why are y'all gonna make me leave the house? Honey, you're going to want to.
They're going to throw you out of here. I remember when Noah got his first job and he was all dressed up and he worked at this little pizza place and he has a little name tag on his little t-shirt. And I was like, oh, there he goes. Mr. Wiggs off to his first job.
Is that when you knew he was?
Yeah, it's when
he's grown up and an adult now.
Yeah, he's hitting that. It's when he hit. You get that moment that, oh wow, so you're growing up. Look at you, this little adult.
I get. Yeah, I mean, it's got to happen at some point.
And being a parent gives you that. You can watch it, and you can be like, wow, so this is happening. Look at you. Like I remember. I divorced my first wife when Justin was 15. So I did the every other weekend for a while. And it took until he graduated high school. I'm sitting at his high school graduation and I'm like, wow. So I'm going to wake up tomorrow and he's going to be grown with kids. And here we are today. He's grown with kids.
Isn't that funny? So I guess you don't really think about it. Like, do you sit? Okay. So Avery's what, 14?
Yeah.
All right. So have you
going on 30?
Have you seen that? Are you aware of it? Are you waiting on it now that you've gone through it with others? Or is it just going to hit you like a ton of bricks like the other two?
I'm noticing little things along the way. You notice little things like when she was 11 and got her first phone, she got a little more mature with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? You can just tell the little maturity, improvements or whatever you want to call growth spots, I guess.
But there's going to be a moment where you go, damn, she's gone.
That's it.
535-9898. When was your moment that you knew your kids were growing up?
901-535-9898. Good morning. Yep, you're listening to us, all right. Good morning. Hi.
Yeah, talking about these kids. I heard a comedian say one time, "Don't worry, they leave home, but they come back later bringing more just like them."
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
Oh my God!
I came back
So
after. I came back after 8 years, and I was just staying at my parents' so I found a place. We kind of dragged on. After 6 weeks, my dad looked at me and said, "I don't care where you live, but you ain't living here. You better hurry it up."
That's the way you do it.
Thank you, bud.
God. Thank you.
I went back to my parents more than once. In my chosen line of work, I found myself without a job a few times.
Oh, I hear you.
With kids. So I had to move. I moved back to my parents once with one kid, then with 2 kids, then with 3 kids.
And now your mom lives with you.
Right now, my mom lives with me.
It all comes back.
And so does my 20-year-old son and my 23-year-old son and my 14-year-old daughter.
Yeah, I'm just with an 8 and 6-year-old, but we check back in about 10, 15 years.
I got them paying rent. Don't play.
Well, that's good.
But I can't let them be homeless, and they're not responsible enough to actually pay rent down on a place.
Right. So. I was married with a 2-year-old and pregnant, and we moved back into my parents for 36 days.
36. See, Justin and Charlotte moved back in with me when they moved up here. He was managing a restaurant in, I don't know, like 2 hours south of Jackson, Mississippi. And they were like, we got to have a change. We need a little more opportunity. So they moved up here. They lived with me for a week. And then they had a place.
So yeah, that's.
I'm like, bang, that's the way you do it. Look at this one, kids. This is the way you do it.
Well, that's the carpenter and I were moving to a bigger house because we are having more children. And the carpenter one day said, "Quit looking at houses. You're not allowed to look at another new house until there's a sign in our yard." Our house sold in a few days and we had nowhere to go.
Oh, no. It backfired great, didn't it?
Yes, but at, I guess, 35 years old, I could tell you it was 36 days.
36 days. I counted the days.
And I love my parents and I'm close with my parents, but we all have separate lives for a reason.
Like vacation is fine, but we can't live together.
I don't want y'all to know how I really live is the problem.
Right?
My parents don't need to know what time I get up on the weekends. They don't need to.
It is the 98 days of summer with 98.1 The Max and Robert Irwin Jewelers. We're giving away $1,000 gift card to Robert Irwin Jewelers.
Yes, all you have to do is play relationship roulette and you'll qualify for that $1,000. But just for playing, we're going to give you $50 to Robert Irwin Jewelers because thank you for making our lives easy and entertaining everyone else's. And relationship roulette is just like the old newlywed game. You're going to call in. We're going to ask you a question. You're going to answer it. Then we'll call your significant other. See if they answer the same way.
901-535-9898. Let's play.